Either stance, that's a real problem for Canelo because he will just be switching, and you don't know where the shots are coming from, and it's so easy for him to do so. And I think the thing that really made me appreciate him is there's many times where I've seen people try and trade with him and slug it out.
I don't know if it's reachable for him. If anybody can do it, it's him, and I'm contradicting myself. I just don't see it happening, you know? Could it happen? Yeah, it's boxing.
Terence Crawford is reportedly working with Gennady Golovkin as he gets ready for his fight against Canelo Alvarez, grabbing big attention in the boxing world. The two are training together to improve Crawford's power, timing, and ring intelligence. With Golovkin's experience supporting him, this partnership could give Crawford the boost he needs for one of the hardest challenges of his career. When experts study Terence Crawford, they don't see a regular fighter. They see a rare talent with speed, timing, and an exceptional ability to read opponents. He is famous for switching stances with ease and making smart adjustments during fights, a skill very few boxers can master. His fight intelligence is often called genius level because he can break opponents down with accuracy. Many believe his adaptability and awareness in the ring make him stand out, placing him above most fighters today. To them, he is not only great, but also remarkable for the way he controls fights through strategy and smart thinking.
Getting shot in the head, for God's sakes. Like, he is not normal. He is a wizard of boxing. He's got genius IQ, one of the smartest boxers I've ever seen, and he can do it all. He's had over 40 fights. I can't ever remember seeing him, like, shook or worried. I mean, this is, trained killers trying to take his head off, and he never looks out of pocket. He is like a rapper who just turns up and figures out his lines on the fly and still makes it sound like the best song you've ever heard. Like, that's how amazing he is. Like, I've never seen anyone who can fight out both stances the way Crawford can. I mean, he looks so natural in either stance. That's a real problem for Canelo because he will just be switching, and you don't know where the shots are coming from, and it's so easy for him to do so. And I think the thing that really made me appreciate him is there's many times where I've seen people try and trade with him and slug it out, and when they stand in the pocket and they just go for it. And even in those situations where usually both of you are getting hit, he still manages to hit and not get hit. It's like he's in the Matrix. And this isn't against average fighters. This is against the best in the world at 4 different weight classes. And he's made it look easy pretty much every time he's moved up. I think in the Errol Spence fight, that was a fight that was supposed to be 50-50. The pressure was on. A lot of people thought he was going to lose that fight. He made that look like a boxing lesson. And the reason is when Errol Spence would throw a punch and not get out of the pocket quick enough, he would make them pay every single time. And if people are worried about Canelo's feet being slow, if there's anyone who can punish that, it's Terence Bud Crawford. In terms of weaknesses, these guys, they don't really have weaknesses. They've just got things that they maybe not as amazing at. That's the level we're talking here. Canelo has been accused of being a bit of a slow starter, and that could be a problem in this fight.
Mikal Fox pointed out a key factor in the upcoming fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, saying Crawford's only real disadvantage is the weight. Moving up against a naturally bigger and stronger fighter like Canelo brings clear challenges. The size gap could let Canelo use physical pressure, making it tougher for Crawford in strength exchanges. Still, Fox stressed that aside from this, Crawford is superior in almost every technical area. His footwork creates angles that trouble aggressive fighters. His jab is sharp and accurate, setting up combinations and breaking rhythm. His timing, often called elite, lets him take advantage of even the smallest openings. Most importantly, his ring IQ is among the best today, allowing him to adjust during fights and change tactics smoothly. Fox believes these qualities make Crawford a very tough opponent for Canelo despite the weight difference. If Crawford can handle the physical pressure and prevent Canelo from controlling the fight with power punches, his skills could take over. In that case, Crawford has a real chance to outclass and beat the Mexican star.
I would like to see Bud pull it off. The thing about it is, I think the only disadvantage Bud really has is the weight. I think he has all the skills and attributes that are required to beat a guy like Canelo Alvarez. Canelo's kind of flat-footed. You've seen the fights with Bivol and Laura and even School, who didn't do much, but you see that movement irritates Canelo. You know what I'm saying? When dudes that know how to control the range and stuff like that, he didn't look like the world beater. You know what I mean? The motherfucker that sat in front of him, them dudes that sat in front of him, we see what he did with him. You know what I mean? But guys like Bivol, who was bigger, but he bouncing in and out. Laura, motherfucking landing counter left, and he's circling out. And that shit was, you know, fucking with Canelo. Floyd, you know, it probably killed Canelo that Floyd was always only an inch away.
Yep.
Just a little step back, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, God, I feel like I missed by a mile.
That's crazy because he didn't use no movement.
Right.
He stood in the pocket on it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Triple G was. You said G? Triple G?
No. I said Floyd didn't use no movement.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. He was always where he needed to be in the ring. He was always where he needed to be in the ring. I'm in there to land, then I'm just right here. In there to land, but now I'm right here. It just, Floyd was a bad motherfucker, Joe. Like that's what we know. Gotta understand, Floyd was a bad motherfucker. But the movement, having good feet under you, helps against Canelo.
When fresh training photos of Terence Crawford's physique appeared online, fans reacted with both curiosity and doubt. The pictures showed him in top shape with a sharper, more muscular build. But right away, questions came up about whether the images were real or edited. Some believed the photos might have been enhanced to send a message to Canelo Alvarez before their fight. Showbiz noted that while Crawford has always been dedicated to training, such noticeable physical changes naturally sparked debate. The reaction shows how closely every detail is studied when a mega fight of this level is on the horizon.
Shredded wheat and amazing is this photo photoshopped, because this photo that Ilya Tapora posted of Terence Bud Crawford is the latest photo we've seen, and he looks just less impressive in this photo. Well, the question is really, when were the photos taken? All right, so when you look at this photo and you look at this photo and look at this video of Terence Crawford with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh as Terence Crawford is working out, supposedly just yesterday, right? Which one is Terence Crawford's latest appearance? Because even though this is the latest photo you've seen, doesn't mean this is when the photo was taken. The only reason why people are confused is because this latest photo seems to have been taken in Vegas. And we're approaching fight week and Terence Crawford is already in Vegas. Hence the video with him with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh in Vegas. Now, let me explain all of this. Well, first you gotta look at the hairstyles, right? Terence Crawford in this photo from Ilya Tapora, his hairstyle is totally different than this hairstyle here with Terence Crawford shredded wheat. It is also different than his hairstyle that he has here in the gym with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. You can tell because you can tell how the hair braid, like how it's parted in this photo, and in this photo, they're more parted down the middle, where this video, it's slanted, it's in like a diagonal slant, which I'm thinking is his latest.
Adam Smith explained why he gives the edge to Terence Crawford over Canelo Alvarez, with timing being the main reason. He said boxing is not just about skill, but also about facing opponents at the right stage of their careers. According to Smith, Canelo has gone through years of tough fights against elite competition, and that has affected his body. While Canelo is still highly skilled, his speed, explosiveness, and sharpness are not what they used to be. On the other hand, Crawford is seen as being at the peak of his career. He is undefeated, full of momentum, and shows no signs of slowing down. He is hungry, motivated, and still eager to prove himself against the very best. Smith believes this combination of form and ambition gives Crawford the advantage. In his view, the timing works against Canelo, as Crawford is meeting him at a point where his sharpness has dipped, making it the perfect chance for Crawford to win and cement his legacy.
I think Terence Crawford beats Canelo, and I think that it's going to be his coming out party. I'd love to be there, and Canelo, of course, an all-time great. Yeah, but listen, I love Ireland, and I'm pleased to be in Belfast with the zone for Crocker and Donovan. There's something about an all-Irish fight which is fantastic, and it was great and controversial first time around. It's even bigger now, so yeah, let's chat over there and get on with it.
Just a quick one on Canelo Crawford. I heard you pick Crawford. You just said it there. How much of that is down to timing, and how much of that is down to styles?
A bit of both. I think Canelo is approaching 70 fights. He's been beaten before. Crawford remains undefeated. I think that the jump up is big, but I think he's got the speed, the IQ, the experience, the know-how to be able to handle it. If he's switched on for every minute of every round, I think he wins, and I think he announces himself to the world on Netflix. And I think he deserves it. I think Terence Crawford's only been really known to the trade fans. Canelo, obviously, you know, a bigger name, bigger star. And look, I fancy Crawford in this fight. Look, nothing against Canelo. Maybe it's a little bit of time in the skull fight. I don't know, but there's plenty that fancy Canelo be too big, too strong, too good. It's Crawford for me.
On Talk Sport Boxing, the discussion about Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford grew heated. Some commentators went as far as saying that if Crawford suffers a bad loss to Canelo, he might never fight again at the top level. The panel looked at both sides, with some arguing that Canelo's size and pressure could be too much, while others believed Crawford's skill and ring IQ could expose Canelo's flaws. The debate showed how divided opinions are in the boxing world. What stood out most was the bold claim that a defeat could end Crawford's run in big fights, highlighting just how high the stakes are for this matchup.
So yeah, there's a big argument that Canelo Alvarez starts the favourite going into this one because he's the super middleweight world champion. Bud Crawford jumping up to two weight divisions, you know, and he's jumped up a weight division before that as well, beating Errol Spence. You just look at it and go, it's a massive ask here for Terence Crawford. Something inside me tells me he wins, and we'll get into that later on.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute, but in the meantime, you know, Canelo, as ever, has left no stone unturned. He's been training at altitude in Sierra Nevada, looking to get the maximum body stamina and preparation advantage. It's something that he's used to, and of course he's going to effectively be the home fighter because Tex-Mexers will be up in their numbers from Texas, also Hispanic fans from all around the United States. The fight is being made on Mexican Independence Day. I don't think you have to be a great crystal ball gazer to know where the bulk of the crowd is going to be rooting when they step out inside those ropes and their names are bellowed out by the ringside announcer afterwards.
Listen, even though the fight happens in America and Terence Crawford is American, it is going to be so pro-Mexican there, you know, because Canelo is accepted. He's like an adopted son there, and Mexican Independence Day, all of that goes so much in favour of Canelo Alvarez. You go, actually, the guy that's a four-division world champion and a superstar of the sport and American will start probably the fan favourite will definitely be Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, definitely. And he's been training with somebody, sparring with a man who he thinks replicates Crawford's style in sparring many rounds against Yaron Ennis.
George Kambosos Jr. shared his thoughts by stressing Canelo Alvarez's pressure-based style. He explained that Canelo is most dangerous when he closes the gap, cuts off the ring, and throws powerful combinations. Kambosos pointed out that Canelo's biggest strength is delivering strong, accurate punches while keeping steady forward pressure. He expects Canelo to use this tactic against Crawford, pushing him to fight off the back foot for much of the bout. The real test for Crawford will be taking those heavy shots and preventing Canelo from controlling the pace. In Kambosos' view, Canelo's pressure is a weapon that should never be underestimated.
Canelo is the pressure fighter. He's got to put the pressure on Crawford. He has to be able to land his big shots. He's seasoned at fighting at super middleweight. He's fought as high as light heavyweight, as we know. So he is accustomed to the bigger punches, the bigger shots. I don't think Crawford can really land anything that's going to trouble a guy like Canelo Alvarez. You know, Canelo is such a good pressure fighter, and for him to be successful in this fight, he needs to be able to really cut the ring off very, very well with a guy like Terence Crawford. Now, we saw in Canelo's last fight against Skull that he was not able to really cut him off well. So that has caused a lot of doubters, you know, and people starting to think, you know, Crawford will have that edge in the footwork and the movement department. But, you know, when you're fighting a big fight, you're going to get up for a big fight, and he's really going to be at his best against a guy like Terence Crawford. So I believe he will cut the ring off, you know, very, very well. And for him to be successful, he has to land shots on Crawford, put him in two frames of minds, make Crawford double think every time Canelo goes into and wants to land shots and land shots. Now a guy like Crawford is so slick, so dynamic, able to punch you from different angles and different stances. We see he switches from orthodox to southpaw. He might fight the whole fight in southpaw. So he's so dynamic. Now he's the kind of guy that he's going to put Canelo in two kind of frames of mind.
Some analysts point to Terence Crawford's showing against Israil Madrimov, noting that he didn't look fully comfortable moving up in weight. They argue that stepping up again to face Canelo Alvarez is an even bigger challenge. In the Madrimov fight, Crawford was still adjusting to the higher division, and his power didn't appear as effective. The worry now is that against Canelo, who is naturally bigger and stronger, this problem could become more serious. Those who hold this view believe that the size and weight difference may limit Crawford's usual strengths, making this a risky matchup.
Crawford actually lost that fight. So we've got Crawford who's coming in off the back of, well, his previous two fights. One of them was brilliant performance. The other one was a bit lackluster by his very high standards, albeit against a very, very good fighter. But you could see in that fight that the size of Israil Madrimov, bear in mind, 154 pounds, Israil Madrimov still fights at 154 pounds. This is super middleweight, 2 divisions more. And we've seen Canelo when he's brought someone up from 154 who was a decent size 154 pounder in Charlo. But Crawford's not going to do what Charlo did. Charlo fought like, someone who was completely scared out of his mind and just didn't want to knew he wasn't going to win, but didn't want to get stopped. That was really the look we were getting from Charlo. Crawford is not going to do that. He's a very proud man. He doesn't know what it's like to be defeated. He fully believes in himself, and the shape he looks in phenomenal shape. He's coming into this fight fully believing that he can win this, and that right there is the mindset you need to have. It won't guarantee you victory, but it will give you a better chance than if you went in there thinking, just survive and see what happens. I do think that the size difference will be something, although saying that, look at Canelo Alvarez, we look at his most recent performances, and when's the last fight from Alvarez that's really made you stand up and take note? Caliplant, Billy Joe Saunders, maybe those 2 fights, they were good performances. Lost, clearly, the Dimitri Bivol fight, although it's very close here. It was on the scorecards, it was a clear loss. Against Triple G, it was just a meh performance. Likewise against John Ryder, Charlo, I won't even talk about that. Munguia, it was a bit meh. Again, Berlanga, it was like, okay. And
former Canelo team member Joe Vargas gave his take on the upcoming fight, stressing that Canelo is a different kind of opponent. Vargas said Canelo has qualities that separate him from most fighters, including his calmness under pressure, his powerful body shots, and his knockout power in both hands. He pointed out that Crawford has never faced someone like Canelo, who can combine strength with strong defense. In Vargas's view, Crawford may be talented and smart, but this challenge will be unlike anything he has dealt with before. For him, the fight is Canelo's chance to show he is still one of the most complete boxers in the sport.
This is the first time I pick it. I'm going to go with Canelo on this one.
And why is that?
They're both great at what they do. I'm going against Maggie. I heard everything she said right now. She's right on the money on all that stuff, but Crawford has done a lot of great things at a smaller weight. That jump is I don't know if it's reachable for him. If anybody can do it, it's him, and I'm contradicting myself. I just don't see it happening, Could it happen? Yeah, it's boxing. But I just think Canelo's too good at the little things and what's Crawford's game plan going to be, That's what's going to define the fight to me.
Do you think Canelo knocks him out?
No, but I think, that's the only way I think he's going to win. I think he wants to make a statement. I was going back and forth about Canelo, like everybody talks about, like, for example, when Berlanga fought Shiraz. Did I say it right? Shiraz? Yeah. Berlanga was engaging with Shiraz. He wasn't engaging with Canelo much, Same thing with Ryder. He didn't engage with Canelo. Munguia did. And it's like, you fight people different. Crawford's not gonna fight him the same way he's fought everybody else. Yeah, he's gonna make great adjustments. He's gonna do some great things. It's not the same till you get hit by Canelo. One time, I remember the first time Ulises Sierra sparred with Canelo, the first time we went to his camp, and he came back after the first round, and I said, "What's up, mijo? How hard does he hit?" He said, "Coach, I can feel his power all the way down to my feet."
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned for the next update.